Fundamental rights are the basic rights which is necessary for each citizen in a democracy because they uphold the equality and dignity for all the individuals. India has borrowed the concept of fundamental rights from USA where they are known as Bill of Rights. Part 3rd of Indian Constitution from Article 12 to 35 deals with them, and that is why Part 3rd is also known as Magna Carta of India. These rights promote the idea of political freedom, which is most crucial in a democracy, as it prevents the establishment of arbitrary rule in a democratic country. The fundamental rights in India are named so because they are guaranteed and protected by the Constitution, which is the fundamental law of the land, and also because they are essential for all round development of an individual, like intellectual, moral, spiritual, and material. Now we'll discuss about the features of fundamental rights. The most essential feature is that these fundamental rights are justiciable, which means persons are allowed to move to the court for their enforcement if they are violated. These rights are not absolute but qualified, which means the state can impose reasonable restrictions on them. But whether these restrictions are reasonable enough is yet to be decided by the courts. Another feature is that these are available against the state. That means they are available against the arbitrary action or unreasonable actions taken up by the state. They also place a kind of limitations on the authority of the state. The most striking feature of the fundamental rights are that these are guaranteed by the Supreme Court itself, which is an apex court in our Indian judicial system, and hence the aggrieved person can directly go to the Supreme Court without even going to the High Court. So, though these fundamental rights are not permanent because the Parliament can curtail or repeal them, but only by a Constitutional Amendment Act and not by ordinary act. But still, Parliament cannot affect the part of fundamental rights which is included in the basic structure of the Constitution. Next feature is that fundamental rights can be suspended during a national emergency, except the rights guaranteed under Article 20, protection in respect for conviction of offences, and Article 21, protection of life and personal liberty. After discussing about the essential features of fundamental rights, now we will start with the articles. Article 12 gives the definition of state for the purpose of Part 3rd. So, according to Article 12, it includes the following categories. First, Government and Parliament of India, that is the Union or the central government and its executive and legislative organs. Secondly, Government and Legislature of States, its executive and legislative organs of the state government. Thirdly, all local authorities, that includes panchayats, municipalities, district administration, district boards, etc. And lastly, other authorities, which means institutions that run state business like LIC, ONGC, SAIL, etc. Therefore, all these agencies that are mentioned in Article 12 under the definition of state can be challenged in the courts for violating fundamental rights. Article 13 declares that all laws that are inconsistent with or in derogation, in simple terms means contradictory, of any of the fundamental rights shall be void. Therefore, Article 13 provides for the doctrine of judicial review that has been conferred on Supreme Court by Article 32 and on High Court Article 226. So, judicial review is the power of judiciary to examine the constitutionality of legislative enactments and executive orders of both the central and the state governments. Article 13 also declares that constitutional amendments is not a law and cannot be challenged. But Supreme Court in the famous case of Nanda Bharati case that happened in 1973 held that constitutional amendments can be challenged on the grounds that it violates fundamental rights that form a part of the basic structure of the Constitution. Now let's discuss about 6 categories of fundamental rights. But we will also be going into the details of each article in a separate video lecture. The Constitution of India has provided 6 categories of fundamental rights, but originally it had 7. right to property that was in Article 31 has been deleted by the 44th Amendment Act of 1978. It is made a legal right under Article 300A in Part 12 of the Constitution. So at present, we have only 6 categories of fundamental rights. Coming to the first category, which is right to equality, which covers Article 14 to 18. Article 14, equality before law and equal protection of law. Article 15, prohibition of discrimination on grounds of religion, race, caste, sex, or place of birth. Article 16, equality of opportunity in matters of public employment. Article 17, abolition of untouchability and prohibition of its practices. And Article 18, abolition of titles except military and academic. The second category of fundamental rights is right to freedom, which again covers 5 articles, Article 19 to 22. Article 19, protection of 6 rights against regarding freedom of speech and expression, assembly, association, movement, residence, and profession. It must be noted that Article 19 can be suspended only when emergency is declared on the grounds of war or external aggression, and not on the ground of armed rebellion. Article 20 and 21 has been discussed earlier, are the two sole fundamental rights which cannot be dissolved even a national emergency is imposed in the country. Article 21 is another important fundamental right which talks about elementary education. And Article 22, protection against arrest and detention in certain cases. The third category of fundamental rights includes 2 Article 23 and 24, that is right against exploitation. Article 23 talks about prohibition of traffic in human beings and forced labor, and Article 24, prohibition of employment of children in factories and other working places. The fourth category of fundamental rights is right to freedom of religion, that covers Article 25 to 28. Article 25 talks of freedom of conscience and free profession, practice and propagation of one's religion. Article 26, freedom to manage religious affairs. Article 27, freedom from payment of taxes for promotion of any religion. And Article 28, freedom from attending religious instruction or worship in certain educational institutions. The fifth category is cultural and educational rights, which again covers 2 articles. Article 29, protection of language, script and culture of minorities, and Article 30, right of minorities to establish and administer educational institutions. The last category is right to constitutional remedies, which comes under Article 32. It holds right to move to the Supreme Court for the enforcement of fundamental rights, including the writs of 5 types: habeas corpus, mandamus, prohibition, certiorari, and quo warranto. Article 33. It empowers the Parliament to restrict or abrogate the fundamental rights of the members who are in armed forces, paramilitary or police forces, and intelligence agencies such as RAW. It is to ensure that the proper discharge of their duties and the maintenance of discipline among them. It is important to note that power to make laws under Article 33 is only belonging to Parliament and not on state legislatures. See, these laws cannot be challenged in any court on the grounds of contravention of any of the fundamental rights. Article 34. It provides for the restrictions on fundamental rights while martial law is in force in any area within the territory of India. Now, what is martial law? Literally, it means military rule. It refers to a situation where a civil administration is run by the military authorities according to their own rules and regulations. This law is imposed under the extraordinary circumstances like war, invasion, rebellion, riot, or any violent resistance to law. Its justification is to repel force by force for maintaining or restoring order in that particular area. Coming to Article 35, the last of the articles of the fundamental rights list, it lays down the power to make laws to give effect to certain specified fundamental rights shall vest only in the Parliament and not legislatures of the state. The main reason behind this provision is to ensure that there is uniformity through India with regards to the nature and punishment for the infringement of fundamental rights. So with this article, we complete our today's topic. Now let's just discuss some questions related to the topic. Which article of fundamental right is termed as heart and soul of the Constitution by Dr. B.R. Ambedkar? Options are Article 14, Article 32, Article 21A, and Article 30. The right answer is Article 32, that is, right to constitutional remedies, because it provides the remedies through which fundamental rights of an aggrieved person can be enforced. If these rights are not enforced effectively, then its presence in the Constitution is of no use. Therefore, Supreme Court can issue the writs of habeas corpus, mandamus, prohibition, certiorari, and quo warranto, as the Supreme Court is the defender and guarantor of the fundamental rights. Therefore, this article is important because it makes sure that fundamental rights are enforced effectively. So basically, the right to get the fundamental rights protected is itself a fundamental right. Now, the question is, right to property was deleted by which Constitutional Amendment Act? And the options are 42nd, 44th, 61st, or 45th. The right answer is 44th Constitutional Amendment Act, which came in 1978, deleted right to property that was in Article 31, and now it is a legal right under Article 300A in Part 12 of the Constitution. Let's also discuss the remaining three amendments acts because they are important too. So 42nd Constitutional Amendment Act came in 1976. It was so comprehensive and made so much changes that it began to known as mini constitution. It added the words socialist, secular and integrity in the preamble. It also added fundamental duties, a new chapter in part 4th A of the Constitution, and many other prominent changes. 45th Constitutional Amendment Act came in 1980 and it extended reservation of seats for the scheduled castes and scheduled tribes, and it also gave special representation to Anglo-Indians in Lok Sabha and state legislative assemblies. And 61st Constitutional Amendment Act reduced the voting age from 21 years to 18 years for the Lok Sabha and the state legislative assembly elections.